Barnell Hill Show. Take one.
Do we got rights?
I don't know. We probably gonna get sued for that.
Boing, boing.
Yo, if y'all ever knew the ignorant stuff that we say off air, oh my goodness, it's ridiculous.
Extra Wild Sauce Podcast.
What up? What up? What up?
Episode 10.
Episode 10.
Double
Episode
digits.
9.
Oh, it is 9.
Episode 9.
Yeah, episode 9.
I was really excited for 10.
I thought we made it into the double digits.
I did too.
Thanks for crushing dreams over here, Steph.
Right.
We're approaching. We're approaching.
Okay, episode 9.
Episode 9.
And a half.
Jordan's Olympic number. Jordan's Olympic
Jordan
number.
Olympic number.
And we'll take it. What's up, everybody? So, episode 9. Steph corrected us.
Yeah.
Man, I have to get into this early.
We jumping right in. Let's dive.
This clown Mo Nique, man. Oh, the most decorated comedian.
What kind of award there?
Assortment of nigga awards. Look at my collection of nigga awards.
All
man.
shined up.
Oh my goodness.
It shined in the background.
Oh,
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, man.
All 4 of them.
So I'm sure everyone has seen by now Mo Nique in her rants on her worth. So she is saying
Rant on her worth. I like that.
Who does that, man?
Mo Nique.
Yeah, I mean, we also had LeBron this week congratulating himself before he did anything.
Yeah, they're congratulating himself before he hit the 30,000.
A letter to myself from myself.
My younger self.
With poor grammar.
I'm gonna congratulate myself tomorrow for going in and making it to work early. It's like, look, self, I know yesterday you ain't know if you was gonna make
when
it.
You was 18. You didn't know you was gonna make it
Real.
to work when you was 30.
He nuts for that, yo. He nuts.
Back to Mo Nique though. So, says that she was offered $500,000 by Netflix, and decides to point out and count others' money. We should say,
Which you should never do.
Yeah.
Chappelle was offered $20 million. Chris Rock was offered $20 million. So legends in the game, legends.
But she legendary.
Oh, we gonna
Better
get
recognize. Did
We
you
gonna
not
get
see the nigga awards behind?
shined up.
The assortment of NAACPs.
Yes.
Then she points out that Amy Schumer was offered $11 million and negotiated $13 million.
Yeah.
And she was only offered $500,000. So us as black people, we should boycott Netflix due to color and
Gender bias.
Oh
my God.
And I really had to cause I was really confused. I didn't know Mo Nique was 20 mil popping now. Did y'all know she was 20 mil popping right now?
Ain't nobody tell me.
I didn't know the Parkers and
the Parkers. They got a revamp. You ain't seen my royalties,
right? I didn't know that the Parkers. Almost. What was it? Almost Christmas.
Almost Christmas.
Because she was the leading character.
She's still getting Soul Plane checks. Wasn't she on Soul Plane?
Probably.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
That's
her lane.
Her resume reads that.
Right. So she stood up with and said that she loved us for real, very dramatically, and that we should boycott Netflix due to her being offered substantially less than others that are popping right now. Amy Schumer sold out the Garden.
She is. Now I want to set this straight. I think Mo Nique is way funnier than Amy Schumer. But Mo Nique, you ain't done nothing to warrant the 11 or the 13 million. Not lately. You ain't shown me what have you done? What you got going on that makes you think that you should get 11 or 13 million?
And I bet you she's going off of that. And let's call it what it is. It was a self-imposed queen of comedy. Didn't nobody tell them they were the queens of comedy?
Well, yeah. Well, and that was a poor stand-up to me on her part. I don't think...
I ain't think it was that bad.
So I would say Monique's stand-up is trash.
Even the one that she had in the prison was bad.
Monique's stand-up is trash.
I think she's straight.
If you told me, I get to take 10 people with me to do a stand-up, Monique wouldn't be on the she wouldn't be in the top 100.
Not even if you said
top
10
100.
black women.
She might, top 25.
We'll narrow it down. 10 black women that's comedians.
Oh yeah, shoot. I'll probably take some people y'all don't even know.
So I think like
I'll take my sister. She's hilarious.
So at the end of the day, like, I really think this goes back. All the blame should be placed on her and her husband for poor negotiation skills.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
more on him because that's her manager.
Yeah, her inability to show your worth in the meetings that matter. I'm sure that she did more damage than good in the meeting because she has no ability to communicate, and she's pretty much been blackballed from everything in Hollywood due to her attitude and being hard to work with. So Steph was saying that what was it, Media Takeout?
Yeah.
Media's Takeout offered.
And take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, said that Netflix offered her how much, Steph?
$3 million.
$3 million. Which is a lot closer to what I think she's worth.
I think the 500 was bogus. The $3 million, shorty, that's right in your ballpark of what you need to be accepting.
But when she was standing next to her assortment of nigga awards, like I think that she has an inflated self-worth at this point in time based off of Precious, like in what happened with Precious. I think she still thinks she's living off that, or that one role should carry her the rest of her life.
All of the good ones know you got to keep going.
Yeah.
You got to show me some more.
And so my whole thing is like, why didn't you go on a different avenue to negotiate? Like, Amazon is dying for content right now. Like, why don't you go to Amazon?
Sykes went to Epics.
Yeah. Why don't you negotiate that? Because they need the content, and you could get that money, and then you can come back to Netflix. But we don't, as a black people. I think one thing that really irritates me is when we try to force people to love us or to give us something so that we can go make them money.
It's an entitlement. I think it's one of those we should always stick together. Not necessarily. It's depending on what you want me to stick with you for.
Yeah. Like
we talked off camera about how Netflix, if we're going to keep it funky, keep it with black people, is no one is really using cable right now.
Nah.
No one is going to the theater that much. Netflix is your only form of entertainment.
Yeah.
Now you're telling us to stop watching our relaxation, our calm down, if you will, Netflix and chill.
Yeah.
Because you can't get $500,000, or you can't get a meal, or you can't get $2 million, $3 million, whatever the case may be.
But what are we gonna see out of the and I think what are there other people that we feel like are in the same position that they're struggling to get what they're worth? Because I don't think gender bias or color bias at this point in time really applies to this situation because you're not popping.
Absolutely.
I
agree.
And I think that they've shown that because they're willing to give the bag away.
Definitely not color bias.
Yeah.
But Chris Rock just got paid.
Right.
Dave got paid. Cat Williams just had one.
And you can't say gender because if you scroll through Netflix, you're going to see about 3, 4, 5 different female women, if you will.
Straight up.
New series.
But I think one thing that stands out to me is I feel like Netflix has overextended themselves with the Chappelle and the Chris Rock because they didn't get the views and the streams.
And they said they have. They're bankrupt, but it's a bankrupt that they know they're going to go into trying to build this platform for streaming.
Yeah, and a lot of people are taking less money to act in Netflix films at this point in time. So this wasn't that surprising to me. But I really look at Mo Nique as a cultural vulture, at this point.
Absolutely.
Strong.
Yeah, but I mean it in my heart.
I know.
But because it seems like any opportunity that she has to make some money or get the bag, or have someone boycott it or anything that's going to enhance her career, it doesn't care at what cost or what it does to us. She's ultimately cool with it as long as she benefits from it. And this is one of those situations to me, there's no talk about what she's going to do to give back when she makes this extra money or when she gets this bag, right? Because, I'm going to put this into more black actors or into, even if it's more into something like us doing something like Tidal did, but doing that for the comedy, anything. There's not really, she's not going to give us anything back for this. Her and her husband, if she allows to cheat on her consistently, are going to spend this money however they see fit. She's going to put her glasses on, sit on her hip, and talk down about us.
Who left her gate open?
Yep.
Who left her gate open?
Y'all remember that joint? Who left the gate?
And we're ultimately gonna watch her, live off of we fought for her to get.
I just can't respect if you're an artist. Okay, we're all basketball players, right? So, nope, I'm not even gonna do that. I'm not even gonna do that.
Good, because I ain't no hooper no more. I just,
how can you front on somebody else's ability to earn a dollar amount? We all work. How can I front on Brandon's amount because that's what they deem he's worth? If I'm not worth that to them, I got to pull my weight up and see what's going on, or I got to find a certain or different avenue to make more income.
But it's the presentation of it.
Absolutely.
Like, so
you're right.
I do have more awards than several people, right? Mm-hmm. But how do I wrap that up and present that in a business meeting? It doesn't seem like it was done well.
No.
Because I know that offer would have looked totally different when she came back. It wouldn't have decreased and went down to $500,000 from $3 million. It sounds like her husband, and this is just totally just off of what I've seen of him over the past few years. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to be very well spoken or aggressive enough in these type of situations. And
she's the boss all day.
And it seems like she tells him what to do. And he's just there for support. And at the end of the day, like, if he can't go in that room, in that boardroom, and fight for you in a professional way to get you the bag that you deserve, or say that we walk in on this and I'm going to go find the bag, and then we'll point it out to everyone once I find the bag what was done. At that point in time, I would have been a lot more for a boycott. But I'm not going to boycott anything so that the same company can give you the bag. We didn't boycott the Clippers so Donald Sterling could stop calling us niggas. Like, right, yeah. Like, you're not gonna go back to the same. You don't go back to the same spot looking, for them to change. You ultimately go elsewhere and make them feel your wrath.
And she can't even pin that on her team because that's how she's trained her team to be that way in a meeting. If that was the case, I believe. So that she went in saying, "Yo, this is what I popped off," and whatever pressures came, was that 2004, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range. Yeah. That's almost 12 years ago. Long ago. Long ago. But what have you done for me lately?
Exactly.
Schumer got a movie that just came on HBO about 2-3 weeks ago.
And that's the nature of showbiz anyway. I totally agree with you with this probably fell fault with the delegations, the negotiations, the lack of presentation. All of that probably culminated to them saying, I think we can get away with just offering her $500,000.
Right.
Yep.
The only part that I disagree with is going somewhere else. Epix did just give Wanda Sykes the money, and Amazon isn't a bad choice. But if you talking about where you want to be, you want your show to be on Netflix.
But absolutely.
That's where you want it to be right now.
I think she feels she's on the playing field of a Chappelle, of a Rock. And right now you're not on the same field as Schumer, as you clearly just saw.
Agreed.
But at this point in time, what I don't like is that we're fighting for acceptance with these white people when you can go get the bag from somebody else and make them give you the bag down the line and on your terms.
Right. Quit Chitlin circuit and be like, yo, this is what I did. This was my sales.
No, she has too many awards for a Chitlin circuit.
Sometimes you got to humble yourself.
That's what I'm saying. So look, this is, and it don't even matter how dope you are. Sometimes if you've been out the loop or out the game for a minute, you got to take some jump shots before you just hop right back in the game.
Right.
So if you think about it, the last special, the first Netflix special that Dave did, he was like, okay, I'm going to take, when he first said that he got the Netflix special, it was 2 years before it actually came out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But in between that time, Dave was hitting smaller joints and improv clubs and stuff like that. He was doing smaller venues before he actually presented the Netflix special.
That was Dave's scrimmaging.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He was honing his craft out there. That was, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. That was Dave shooting in the gym. Shorty, don't think you could just come out here. You ain't Bird. You ain't Larry Bird. You can't just come out with the warm-up on it and just think you finna flame up.
And I think the other thing is that, like, people have been begging for Chappelle Chappelle content for, like, a decade. We've been begging for... All people are always looking for Chris Rock content. Yep. Like, although he's not the funniest person of all time to me, he's funny. And I think when I look at, like... the different avenues in which he goes and the type of fan base that he has is very diverse. Mo Nique it's a pocket that's very very slim that she works in. And so and it's within the black community, and it's a certain type of comedy, right? It doesn't
it's
hit
big
a broader
versus skinny.
realm. Yeah,
that's our comedy.
Big bank take little.
Yep.
Big bank take little bit. So like when we look at like their fan bases versus I mean like we had Chappelle just win a Grammy, you know, for his comedy, his stand up. But when we look at you, like that's not the quality of stand up that you give us.
You ain't see the assortment of nigga awards she had?
I saw.
She don't need a Grammy.
I told you what I saw, man. Queens of Comedy. That did it for me. Queens of Comedy was trash.com. Well, her stand up was on Queens of Comedy, and I think we're just getting to a space where she believes her worth is a lot more than what it is right now. And she continues to live in the past. Like you're gonna have to do something of relevance in the present to yield the type of money that you're looking for at this point in time.
Like how you get kicked off of a role that was written for you in Empire.
Mm-hmm.
A role was written for you, and you couldn't control yourself till you messed that up. At the end of the day, at some point, you got to look, what am I doing that's not right?
Yeah, she has several entitlement issues. And I think the other thing is that you don't go begging with the poor people about when you
don't get some sympathy from me.
And I wouldn't even and if I was her, I wouldn't have even got into the actual dollar amounts. Because I think that made people furious. Like I don't know how I'm gonna eat my next lunch
for real,
and you talking about
$500,000.
And how that's disrespectful.
Like,
it is.
I'm over here trying to reload this venture card, and you talking about how you mad? You just turned down $500,000. $500,000.
It is.
I gotta work Monday. No
you know
gas
what I'm saying?
It is disrespectful, but people don't understand that struggle. You're going to your
at all. She ain't understood it in a long time. It's like you got money, man. I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah. So I mean, if she was gonna go that route. I wouldn't have gave the figures. I probably would have just spoke about it in general that they were offered a lot more than what I was offered. You know, and Amy Schumer was offered 4 or 5 times what I was. Whatever, you know, I threw out there. But I wouldn't get into exact dollar amounts. The other thing is, like, why does she keep showing up at different spots in this crib?
Yeah.
In front of...
Now you showing me you got a big crib.
Right. You trying to show me you can act now? Like, what are you... Like, I don't... It was just so much drama.
You showing me you probably don't need this $500,000. You right. You don't need this. Go sit down somewhere.
And then just doing like a... I mean, didn't she go to Breakfast Club? And I just got tired
of she on the Breakfast Club?
Yeah, she did. Interviews and everything. Just running around, just saying the same thing for 20 minutes and 30 minutes at a time. Like, and I just really felt
everybody giving her the gas face.
Yeah. Like, this is ridiculous at this point. And I really feel like you really got to just get out this jam and just go do something else. Like, you're really putting us in a bad space, like, because you're looking for the black people to support you.
I guess it depends on what she's trying to get out of it. If she's trying to, remember, we just got through talking about how she had a lack of relevance. Maybe this is her move.
Some people want to claim
it's giving her relevance now.
When it's not an injustice.
Yeah. It's definitely not that.
And I'm so tired of, and let me say this, I'm all pro black and I'm all for we boycott what we need to boycott.
Yeah.
But you just showing up on occasion saying boycott for me on my behalf, and there's really no reason to boycott. Like Kaepernick, boycott the NFL, totally understand, right? Yeah. Kaepernick's fighting for our cause all the time. He lost his job.
Yep.
Fighting for our cause.
Yeah.
You ain't fighting for us. You fighting for the bag for yourself, and then you come back, and that's why I call her a culture vulture. Yeah. And you
it's
pop
like, we
up.
need this, my loves.
Yep.
We.
And I'm not gonna
right.
see it.
I do need 500. I can definitely use 500,000. You just turned it down, shorty.
No doubt.
Man.
Right.
Yeah,
but
she was tripping.
Yeah. So, I don't. I mean, I think she's gonna be blackballed at least for another 2-3 years at this point in time. I wouldn't
be surprised if her career's over.
I don't think it's over.
But she do have a she got a play she's in that's coming to Chicago soon. It's a nice little cast, but it's one of those Mama done burnt up the chicken. No, was it Mama done burnt up the sushi? One of them joints. So I don't
toss Mama from the train.
For real, man. It's one of those, man. Rafael De La Ghetto Productions.
It's that one that Marlon was on the Wayans Brothers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't toss Mama from the train or something like that. Yeah.
I'm Key Sweat. I'm leaving. That's one of the joints she in, man. But much love to Mo Nique, man. I hope everything works in her favor.
It will. She gonna get the money from somewhere. But you're right. She definitely isolating herself.
Yeah.
Just do a couple of shows. Do a couple of Airy Crowns. Do some Fox Theaters. Go to, you know, the Palladium, wherever city you in. Go to those places and just do some shows. This is turn out.
This is some stuff we should have heard about on the back end. Like, this is what they offered me. I went elsewhere and got what I was worth, and
like Taraji did. I just found out she made 2% of what Brad Pitt made for the Benjamin Button joint. She made 2% of what he made, but she killed the role.
And
it didn't come out.
That, did she?
I don't know.
Did you?
But think about my thing is this.
Googles.
It right. Pull it up. My thing is. That story just broke. How long ago did Benjamin Button come out?
Yeah,
you know, kept her mouth shut.
That's the point that I'm bringing up. Is you didn't have to bring out the whole money aspect. You could bring up that stuff when you win, not when you whining about it. Just get back and.
But some people just got a level of dignity that wasn't. It's important to her in terms of
and we know she
money,
doesn't.
but she's like, I'm gonna recoup this. She recouped that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yep. You still looking that up?
Yeah, we can go on to the next joint.
Okay. All right. I wanted to jump into the Shy. So Showtime has a new show called The Shy. We're on episode 5 is tonight. No, she didn't.
Nominated.
No. Okay.
But what year did it come out?
I think it was 12 or 11.
Okay.
But back to The Shy, man.
Yeah.
So it came out on Showtime. We're on episode 4. 5 is tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much the show is based in Chicago. There's a initial character that we're introduced to called Coogee. Very charismatic character.
Yeah.
And within about 15-20 minutes into the episode, he's killed.
Just about.
Yeah.
Around there.
He's killed. Ultimately what happens is that he's around when a murder happens, and he goes and steals the shoes and the chain from the dead body.
Yeah.
And he's seen doing so. He's taken to the police station, and then ultimately the young boy's stepfather ultimately comes back and kills him.
False pretense, right? False pretense.
Yeah. So not having an understanding of what truly happened, something that would really happen in The Shy, as far as, you know, people just never really communicating, just making decisions based off of revenge, anger, and gossip.
It's all about quick reactions and the get back.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into, like, what do you guys think about? I don't want to give away the whole, because that's just a little baseline about the first, 20-30 minutes or so. But what do you guys think about the show overall as a whole? We'll start out with Steph, since he's been to films.
The show's good. I'm not as far into the series as was airing tonight. I think I'm 2 or 3 in, and I think you said 4 or 5 episodes.
They're airing the 5th one tonight.
Yeah, so I'm only 2 episodes in. It's a good show, but what it left me wanting more of the aesthetic of Chicago. And I know it's only so much that you can do with time constraints and area and all of that. But to me, it felt like she had a vision, but based upon the Hollywoodness, if you will, she wasn't able to really maneuver or speak her voice the way she wanted to. Now, I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yeah.
So going forward, it may pick up. I may see more landmarks. The characters, of course, are going to be developed and things of that nature. But as of right now, me being 2 episodes in, I don't feel a Chicago vibe. I see Chicago moments.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I stated off camera, I feel like this show can be titled anything. Meaning it can be ATL, it can be LA, it can be MIA Miami, and still go on, because it's a story that's, is universal right now.
I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like the show so far. I think it definitely has some elements of Chicago in it. they have like subtle hints of the of our lingo that they done dropped in there that I definitely liked. I like the interactions that they have with each other, especially the kids. The
kids are good.
The kids is I think in my opinion right now that's the brightest spot of the show. One thing's for sure is The Wire is my favorite TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So and it has that Wire vibe to it. Now I'm hoping that it lives up to that, because if it already has some semblance of The Wire, then I'm going to naturally start to expect more from the Chi.
Mm-hmm.
But the start of it, I like what we got right now. I think she's done a good job of building. I ain't gonna say the suspense. I think she's done a good job of building the characters to make me want to continue to tune in. It's the first time that I started a show from the beginning, when it debuted, when it aired, and it was like, okay, I'm going to tune in every Sunday and watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I'm not too into a show and I gotta go back and binge watch to pick up steam with other different shows that people put me on and say, yo, you gotta see this. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm 2-3 seasons behind. I gotta catch up now.
Yeah.
This one, I jumped in from the very beginning, and I dig it so far. I like it.
So I'm in a space where I really like the show, but I think there's a lot left to be desired at this point in time. So I will say the characters, I immediately became attached to Coogee. Like, that was a dope character, but I don't feel like he fully embodied the Chi. Like, when I think about
Not at all.
the way he dressed, the way he carried himself, the way he communicated, it wasn't Chicago to me.
Definitely the way he dressed.
Yeah.
No, you keep
okay.
going.
I think also as we really got into it, the other thing that really threw me off was the geography. So as we are opening up the show, they're riding down 79th Street. So immediately I'm like, oh, the 9. Here we go. We really gonna show what the South Side is like. But then I also see you like on 19th Street and things like that, and we're making it seem as though these people walked, this distance. Where if you know the Chi, you didn't walk from 79th Street to 18th, 19th.
Not at all.
And also everything would be going on within Chicago within like a 6 to 8 block radius, right?
Sure.
Most people don't really travel that much outside of that neighborhood or know people. Right, that like obviously there's transitional neighborhoods and things like that, but a lot of times there's wars and things going on. And I think that when I get into like the characters, like the Step Pops and people like that, really a lot of the wars and things that are going on like are because there's so many renegade factions and things like that going on in the city right now. And I would like to get into the culture of that and what's truly going on in our city. Now, I think that she might be building up to that just from what I see as far as the characters and things. I love that she has the older brother, Brandon, who moved out the hood, trying to, take the brother under his wing and show him that there's other things out there, right? So very early on, like, showing him that he's trying to be a chef and letting him taste different cuisines and things like that, and just seeing there's a different world out here, right? But he still has to go back to the hood at the end of the day. It's like a vacation for a night or two, but yo, this is your reality, and you got to go back. I also really like the interactions as far as like the cops, because this is very realistic to me.
Yeah,
right. Like the love-hate relationship that we have with the cops in Chicago. Obviously, even when there is a good cop, like I think his name is Cruz, he's not seen as a good cop because of all of the corruption that we've seen over the years.
He's just looked at as a cop.
Exactly.
He don't trust nobody.
Yep. And so even him going back and trying to talk to the brothers, like, you more worried about what my brother was talking about with Tim's and stuff like that, as opposed to him being killed. Like, are you going to solve the murder?
Right.
Like, we don't trust you. And a lot of things, just a lot of street justice happening because they don't trust the cops in the area, and feeling like you have to take things into your own hands. And so another thing that really stood out to me was the OG, like, the OG cat that came back to the hood. I don't know his name.
The dude with the hat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Not the...
No.
Not the father?
No, not the father.
Yeah, not the father. The cat that came back for the drug dealer dude.
Yeah, they first introduced him in like the chicken shack or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
when
Steve
Emmett was
Williams.
working
Yeah.
But like, when have you ever known like your triple OG to not be gang affiliated at all or anything? Like in Chicago, like have you ever seen that? Like that kind of stood out to me. Like, because there's usually some type of affiliation or something, but that really jumped out to me, and just the whole way in which like the drug dealer, like how he carried himself and was not very Chicago-esque. And I think like as we get into like all of the gangs and stuff in Chicago that are not being portrayed like so far, like as we talk about Chicago, I don't think that portion's being accurately depicted. Like we're not getting that vibe that we really see day to day in Chicago. I understand like we have the Miamis and the New Yorks, and everybody's probably watching this. You know what I'm saying? This like of course we're gonna be the most critical because we're from Chicago.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt.
Exactly.
But like when I just see our culture, I'm just wanting to see more of our culture involved. And I feel like we're starting to run out of season. Like we're at like episode 5 at this point in time. And I feel like, okay, when are we gonna start to get there or start to build those characters? So as you guys kind of discuss, like The Wire, is a great like measuring stick to look at, because it's very similar to what we're like trying to do here, or what she's trying to do here.
I was about to say, I think it's similar to what she's looking to accomplish.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously she wants to branch off and be her own, but if you're talking about measuring success and the ability to captivate an audience, I mean, The Wire should be a good measuring stick.
Yeah, so I think like as we get into like, I want to get into like, okay, let's talk about all the renegade factions and things like that. And there's I mean, I really think like it would be important to show how that kind of changed in our city, because it used to be very organized, like as far as the gangs and things.
Very
and once
so.
that went away, and everybody was just about making money in their small little renegade factions and EBK sets and things like that, like that we've totally gotten out of control. A lot of the killings and stuff aren't being done, by a lot of the older generation, right? It's a lot of these.
I agree.
Kids like
12 to
14,
18.
yeah.
That's the pocket
in early
right now.
20s, right? Just and a lot of it is just the retaliation, So I like that we are going into like eye for an eye, like is kind of the way in which we kind of see in this show go. But I just think that the actual characters, that's what's not being accurately depicted at this point in time, and I feel like we have a lot to build off here, though. So I really like the show, but I think we have so much or so many things as far as like Chicago that we're not incorporating, like the drill music and like the drill.
That's one thing I thought would be the drill music.
Yeah. I think I expected that. Well, when I saw Common was on it, I knew that he was connected to it, but I felt like they would probably use Common more early on in some of the drill stuff.
Yeah,
in between.
He definitely I would hope that that's a part that he would want to start to incorporate. I mean, I guess you can't really say it's early in the season now, just because we about
almost halfway.
Midway.
Yeah, we're like halfway.
Yeah, so I mean, it might be something that they're looking to incorporate. I think she's being safe. I think she's being safe with the way that she plays it. And not only is she playing it a little safe, but I also think that she may be purposely holding a bit back, just so that you'll be able to still have something to look forward to for what that next season might be.
No, you just write a better season.
That's I mean, I dig that, and by no means do I have any lack of faith in her creativity. I think that you have to taper it back a little bit. Well, I take that back. I think she's thinking that she may have to taper it back a little bit just to make sure that she can draw in other demographics.
And we also don't know.
I'm saying not demographics, other geographic areas.
I get it. And we also don't know what the network told her she couldn't do. So
that's true.
That could be something that's out there as well.
And I think that might tie back to like one of my big gripes with the show at this point in time. Is just like geographically, like where they're at and things like that. So like as we talk about Like, I mean, the show opens like riding down 79th Street, and I like immediately got excited. Like, okay, the 9, we riding down the 9, and then like. Then there are places, and I'm like, that's not on the 9. Or you see them, and you see like 19th Street and stuff like, and I'm like, yo, like, how did you walk from 79th to 19th? You know, you see them walking, and then all of a sudden they never get in a car or anything, and they like on 19th Street.
I thought we was in LA when I saw the drop top big body, man.
Yeah, so I think that's been confusing to me. Like, we all know Chicago, so we know that like all of this would be happening in like a 6 to 8 block radius. Like, a lot of people don't venture outside of their own community. So if you're like in Grand Carson, that's all you're in. If you're in West Pullman, like that's all you're in, and that's all you know. And all of this like violence and this whole storyline would be happening in like 6 to 8 blocks probably. Not, you know, okay, we down here on 19th Street, or you know, I'm walking to this store way over here. Like, how are you getting back and forth? I guess kind of, and I think Steph had brought it up like off air, or maybe it was on air at some point, when you were talking about where does the brother live at? Brandon, where does he live at? Like, you know, is he up north somewhere? Like, you know,
Bronzeville, where are you?
Is he in the loop? Like, where is he at? Where's, you know, we saw him, like, was he get on the L or whatever? And then
and I don't even remember the I know one was the Red Line, and the other I want to say was Addison, but I'm not sure.
They was on Garfield, so that was by me. I think it was Green Line. I'm almost positive it was.
Okay.
On that was episode 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it got to be Bronzeville.
Yeah. Right around there. Yeah. I guess so. Bronzeville, Washington Park area. One of the two.
Yeah. But it's just it's really confusing, I guess, from somebody being from Chicago, and being familiar with the neighborhoods and things like that. Like looking at it, and I guess like I get off base sometimes, like getting caught up in geographically where they're at. Like, yo, this ain't over there. Or,
no, I dig that, because you want it to be, because we're here, we're going to be the harshest critics of the shot. You want it to be aesthetically pleasing. I don't know if they're going to be able to have that, because like you hinted on, is you have all of these splintered factions and different pockets of different gangs. You go over 4 or 5 blocks and you got a totally different set. Right. So who's to say it's like, okay, you're not going to be able to come and film over here because you don't know who running that block. Yeah. Or technically you ain't got nobody running that block.
Or you don't have a permit.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to shoot on that block.
Exactly. So I mean, it's and that's one thing that I'm gonna always keep bringing it back to The Wire. That's one thing that they did have in The Wire. You know, they had the green light from those Baltimore area citizens and the people who was in them streets to say, yeah, you could come and film over here.
And I think like one of the big things with that probably is that The Wire is like, most of that was taking place in the past, like in the 80s, like because it was Rayful, right? It was like that era. Is most of the story. But like they're pretty much, it looks like it's supposed to be present day Shy. So like I'm sure like it was easy to get them to be like, oh yeah, everything's already happened. These cases is, you know, already been caught, or you know, people done died and things like that off. So it's probably very easy to get people to allow them to tell the story. Whereas like in Chicago, yeah, it's not gonna be that clean around here. Like, you're not just gonna walk in the hood.
Oh yeah,
like,
no doubt.
You ain't got just 1 or 2 people who you can go to and get that green light. Ain't no OGs out there. That's been over with for a long time.
Yeah. So I think like those are kind of some of the things I think like stand out to me as like are missing right now from the show. I know she made a comment about like she isn't obligated to tell everyone's story, just like what her story is or whatever her vision is, which I was like really concerned with that comment, like, because when you take on the name The Shy, like what you're ultimately saying to me is you're going to accurately depict our culture and our city.
And earlier in the segment we agreed on that it's her responsibility if you're going to hold that title.
So
I just think that, but what we just spoke to lets you know that if you go to 4 or 5 different blocks and you ask 4 or 5 different people, that story changes. So I mean, there's no way you can embody every part of The Shy
No, no.
Not that.
So my thing is I think she has to tell it from her perspective. Yes, we could probably create a good solid list of things that we are expecting because that's consistent no matter what hood you in.
Yeah.
So I dig that part, but this is going to have to be from her mind in what her depiction of our city is.
Mm-hmm. So if you had to use the mild sauce scale to give a rating on the show so far, where would you rate it? You gonna let Dub go first?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna give it a 3 right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 3 right now.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking 2.5, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you live. Good.
And I'm kind of in that.
Thank
3
you.
range.
Good job, Fresh.
I know. Anytime it's rating time, I be like,
hey man, y'all gonna get off my back about
my
that.
man's go do it.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is great.
Yeah.
The writing is great.
Yeah.
It's just the other things that tie in to make it a collective is where I'm kind of iffy on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's some things that make me say, they could have left that out, or I would have changed that. It's got some pockets here and there, but for the most part, I'm still digging it. I'm enjoying the show.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm in the same place. It's pretty interesting. Like it's not like a boring storyline or anything of that
Not
nature. At all. And I think as you attach yourself to the characters and things, it's something that's kind of fun to follow along with. Like A-Dub was saying, like every week looking forward to watching it and following along with it as it's going. Not binge watching later. It's like I kind of don't want to. I'm kind of waiting for Sunday nights.
Okay.
Yeah,
and you have a friend that's a writer. Do you know if he said anything to you about it or how he feels about the show that's from here?
Well, you know what? I haven't really talked to him.
Okay.
To him about it. He he been pretty busy doing his own
thing.
thing.
Review in the comments, bro.
No doubt.
What's his name?
Put him on blast right now. Leon, holla at me, man. Let me know what you think of the shot. If you've even had a chance to watch it, man. I know you're busy doing your thing out there in LA. You representing for us. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. If you didn't have a chance to check it out, definitely let us know. Cause he's got he'll be able to offer that cinematic and that writing experience to it too. The same way you able to offer that up. Yeah. So that's interesting. I'm surprised we ain't even had that conversation. So yeah, I definitely have him check it out.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're kind of consistent as far as our rating, which is good. I think there is a lot of room for it to go different places though. So I'm interested to see where she goes with it. But yeah, if you haven't watched it so far, it is on Showtime once again. So please check it out on Sunday nights. All right. Let's jump into All Star. All Star. And then I want to talk about these Cavs a little bit, man.
Some up and down with All Star.
Yeah.
Some good things. And
so let's start it out. My man's to the left, no name over here. Let's kick it off with the jerseys.
Okay.
What did you think of the All Star jerseys?
They're whack. point blank.
That was easy.
The color, whack. Whack. The cut of them, whack.
And it's not even really the jersey or the emblem. All that is dope. I think that silhouette of that noir, that black and white, I think they could have done something better than that. If they was in LA, they could have had one side, LeBron's side, just thinking out loud, the LA Lakers, then the other side be the Clippers. So you could have did something better than just black and white. It seemed like it was the uniforms that may have been for Charlotte, but they scratched it. Let's just do it black and white and go.
I think they should have rocked the City Pack joints.
Absolutely.
I would have been cool with that.
Absolutely.
If everybody would have just rocked their home or away City Pack jersey, I thought that would have been fresh. Take it back to what was that, the early 2000s where everybody was just wearing their own jersey?
Starting like 98?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't even want to do that. I wanted to take it back to that. Remember 88 and stuff? They used to have a star.
Yes.
Yeah.
The red, white, and blue joints.
Yes.
And so if the All-Star game was in the East, you wore white. And then you wore blue or red. You know what I'm saying? If you was away.
I dig that.
I like that. But I felt like Nike was gonna bring something different to it, like maybe some shooting stars with a fade, like, you know, or something like that to it. I was kind of like excited, and I thought like, hey, they might do, you know, something with Laker colors or something, or, you know, especially with them in like this whole Kobe stuff, how they did that Mamba jersey and that. I thought we would get something dope. And then they just
they so creative. It's
like,
an abundance of creative minds over there in Nike. And then you get this. You didn't get no.
I thought like I thought the color on my phone wasn't working or something the first time I saw.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what is this? Because I was thinking Charlotte Hornet colors at first because of the Charlotte joints that never happened. And the shoes that we saw at first was that iridescent. Then they come out with, you know, Sin City. That's what I'm gonna start calling the Sin City pack. Was that Sin City, the movie Sin City, when it was black and white? Sin City.
Most of it was black and white.
Yeah, it's the Sin City pack, man.
Yin Yang pack.
For real. That's even better.
But I like the emblem, like that they encompass like every team's emblem on the front of the jersey. I thought that was dope. But I just thought it was executed poorly, because then I thought, okay, well maybe the shorts are gonna have something crazy, and then to just see like it was just a star.
Yep.
I'm like, yo, this is so
a star
whack,
and all-star
man.
written down the other side.
Yeah, I'm like, this is so whack. Like maybe the hoodies and stuff will be hot. You know, they've been killing the hoodie game.
Yeah,
they have. Yeah, they got anything right so far. The hoodies have been fresh.
I've been so disappointed with their whole jerseys though, like, because Christmas and All-Star are supposed to be your times to shine. And like Adidas attempted, even though they may have struggled with some of the designs, at least they put forth an attempt. So then I think like from the shoes and stuff like that, that's the other thing I'm probably gonna be like, man, if y'all go weak with the shoes. We saw the Kyries.
We saw the Kyries. The Kyries are pretty good.
Saw some of the J's.
Yeah.
The different threes, the Tinker threes.
Yeah.
The flying in threes.
Yeah.
The nines.
Yeah. So they threw out some decent stuff. What did you guys think about the draft and all of that new process?
I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
I thought the draft was dope. I really wish they would have televised it. I thought televising it would have been super nice.
Steph is a conspiracy theorist. I want to give your conspiracy theory around.
I got a lot of them. You got to remind me.
Around why the draft wasn't televised.
Oh, because they hurt feelings?
I thought you were saying it was LeBron told him he wouldn't do it if they was going to televise it.
Yeah, I said something like that. I don't remember, man. I got a lot of conspiracy.
He was on like Twitter or something saying that this should have been televised.
After the fact.
And that was his whole thing.
That's what it was.
That's a LeBron move.
After the fact, man.
To after the fact act like, man, I wish it would have been this way.
We had a lot of fun doing this, and I just wish the people don't bait me and say that's like total troll, man.
Yeah. But I felt like the conference call was lit. Like they was,
of course.
Like I think it was funny and stuff like that. And it was like, man, I wish it was televised. I really think like that was more of an Adam Silver move, because when they made this decision, it was kind of late in the game. The season had like already like was getting ready to start, and I don't think he had probably worked out how to get the bag on that yet, or how it would work.
Shout out to Adam Silver. This man has had a very, very nice start to his run. He's I don't know if I have a bad move from him yet.
He's for the people, man.
I can't think of a bad Adam Silver.
He's learned under David Stern what not to do.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah,
that's easy.
Yeah, David Stern ruled with a iron fist. So Adam Silver's a lot more collaborative, like wanting to sit down and talk and figure out what's the best avenue, and utilizing the stars to kind of help him push things forward. Yeah, which I think is smart. Like I really think that's why they didn't go about it like in the draft format like that. And I think the other thing was egos, like hurt feelings, because we saw what happened with the Pro Bowl. Remember, like the one dude that was laying on the floor, he ain't want to get up and walk up there and put his jersey on.
He was like, I don't understand that.
This what I'm worth. I ain't getting up. Like, so I think that they probably watched that like, we probably need to chill. Because imagine if Russ got drafted last for real like he thought he did. How he would have acted.
I would have wanted Russ to know that he was drafted last so he can have 60. You knew he would have went crazy, man.
Russ would have went back in his Ninja Turtle shell.
Man.
He would have went back in his Ninja Turtle shell.
Man. Little Rage would have been raging out that night, man.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that's what they were trying to protect, is just hurt feelings and egos until they had kind of worked through what it would look like.
So next year it'll be televised.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If not televised, at least on Twitter or Facebook or something.
Yeah. That brings up another point I have to ask. So some people were arguing in one of my basketball groups on Facebook, and somebody said KD is the 7th ranked player in this league.
7th?
And Steph is 9.
Nah.
What? Who they got in front?
Nah, man.
LBJ. Oh man, Harden.
KD.
Russ
five.
was 2.
You
Russ
five.
was 2.
Whoever that was, you 5.
Yeah, he's loose.
I just
with
happened
that.
to glance at
Do
it.
they
like,
watch
I
the
didn't
show?
even comment. Nah.
All right, good.
Nah.
Don't even
But I
start
just
to
happened
tune
to
in because
yeah.
I'm frying you.
But
for
I
that
saw it. I was like, he's trolling. He
KD
must
shouldn't be no lower than 1.
Yeah.
No lower than 1.
And he said that the
KD is the number 1 player in the league.
yeah. So that's where I'm at.
I'm not.
now.
Okay, so I'm not mad at that, but you could argue.
KD, Harden, Steph, 1, 2, 3.
I would like to see this be LeBron versus KD.
No way, Steph is
Like-
the 3rd best player in the NBA.
KD, Harden, and Steph, 1, 2, 3.
With the inability to play defense, no, Steph is not the 3rd best player in the
KD,
NBA.
Harden, and Steph, 1, 2, 3.
I'm out. My list will be
So who you putting at 3? Because Harden is clearly number 2. And his defense
I
is
disagree with that.
You got LBJ.
Yeah, yeah, I got LeBron at number 2.
I think I still
LeBron-
have him at 2.
LeBron is the 2nd best player.
If it's the regular season, if it's the playoffs, if it's especially the finals, he's a little bit further down the list. But
is
right
he
now,
on the list for the finals?
yes, yes. In the current league, yes, because he's always there. He would have to be. So, but I just was thinking about that. Like, I'm really at a point where KD he stepped over LeBron at this point
Yeah,
in
he the
time.
man.
And I think in head-to-head matchups, we see it every single time. He goes
I'm
after
not mad
that
at
man.
that. I mean,
Like-
I have him number 1 in. I think he's the best player right now.
He's an elite defender now too.
no. He's a very good.
He's an
defender.
elite
No.
defender.
No,
So
he's
he
very
got.
good. He's not elite.
He's elite. LeBron's a good defender, but not elite.
I don't think we have a lot of elite defenders in the league. So the guys who I think are elite, I know that like they lock up.
But see, KD locks up. But in KD, I think the other thing is that he plays excellent help side defense at this point in time.
That's what I would say
He
makes
covers
him
up
an elite
everybody
defender.
else's mistakes.
His
And-
help side is
And
sick.
look at and what really
Yeah.
stood out to me is when Draymond was out, that this man quarterbacked the defense.
Yep.
Consistently. So
he ran
would-
all 5
Yeah,
spots.
and then a lot of times in the last 4 minutes of games, he would go guard the best player and still put up buckets and rotate.
That,
he uses his
that's
length.
what impresses me is the fact that his uptick in defense has not taken away from his offensive game.
Yeah.
His offensive prowess is not lost a step at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
So that's the part that impresses me the most. That more than anything, that's why I have him ranked number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't call him elite just yet.
See, and I saw it. I mean, I guess I watched so many of their games. Like, I'm starting to get to the point where over the last year and a half, and I would say really as this season started, he's become a defensive stopper. Like, I think it started in the playoffs last year. Really it started in OKC. That last year in OKC, he really played a lot better defense. But it was like it was only him and Adams and Robertson playing defense. And then Russ and whoever just was standing around all night. So I think now when I look at like KD defensively, it's like a totally different person. Like, my man, he's always making the right decisions. He's covering up everybody else's mistakes. He's getting back to his man. And then look at, like, he guarded LeBron down the stretch. Now, everybody knows LeBron fades in the 4th or whatever, like, but he was totally non-existent at points.
And this is all within a year's time. He's did all this.
So I think he just – and the other thing I loved was this summer when they asked him, who's the best player in the league? No, is LeBron better than you? No. Like, nah. He said, nah. Like, straight up, nah.
I wouldn't expect anything other than that.
But-
I think if you asked him that question 3 years ago, he'd have still said the same thing.
But I think that's that killer mentality, like, that the Kobe's and the Mikes and people like that have. We know that he's not there yet. This is still, I would consider it LeBron's era for right now. But I think we're starting to move into the KD era.
I can definitely agree with
He's
that.
one
I'm on
more
board with
jacked
that.
up team away. Whatever he do next year, and if he jacks whatever they give him for whatever team, it's KD. He's done. I think he can't bounce back from that. LeBron, not on the court, but just the mentality that we have of him. He's through LeBron.
Oh, okay.
If he jacks up another team after this year, he goes to another team, jack it up. Whatever he does on the court.
Strikes rule.
Yep, it's over.
Jacking it up is
he going to the Clippers?
Hell no.
They setting it up.
It seems like they try to they getting rid of everything, and he wants to be in LA.
So then who goes with him?
He'll figure it out. James Jones goes everywhere with this man.
Coming out of retirement.
For real.
Birdman.
Channing Frye, man.
So I understand what you're saying when you say jack it up, but it's hard to say that you don't want him there because everywhere he's gone, he still won a championship.
So let's get into like what's the problem with the Cavs then?
Identity.
Speak on.
They made all of these off-season acquisitions, and they don't know how to mesh. The chemistry is completely non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
You got Derrick Rose, you got Jeff Green, you got Isaiah Thomas, you got Jay Crowder. All of those guys don't know how to play with each other. Honestly, all of them, I'm not going to say they look lost, but they have moments where they try to defer to each other, they try to mesh, they try to insert themselves, and they just look very sloppy. The only person, to me, who's made a good transition throughout this entire season has been Jeff Green. Jeff Green is the only one who's made consistent strides, and he looks like he's still has the ability to fit. I still give him a little bit because he hasn't had a chance to play that much. I think he's still trying to get into a rhythm, but even still, offensively, he looks lost. Not IQ wise, but he looks lost as to how am I going to insert myself? How do I help my team out to make the best play? They have an absolute huge identity issues, and
what do we think of K Love at this point?
Kevin Love is just out there.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Let me talk. Let me speak my piece. Kevin Love is just out there. And when I say he's just out there, yes, he's producing. He's doing his thing. Kevin Love can only do what he's capable of doing. So as an individual, Kevin Love is balling. But as a team, he's just out there. I don't think he's being utilized properly. He's being used as a spot up shooter and being told to crash the glass. They're not really running. In my opinion, they're not running effective sets for him. I think he could be much more useful if you play inside out with him. I think Kevin Love is just out there.
So I think that gets back to you just identified. We'll take it back to the two things that I think are the major problems. Ty Lue not being an X's and O's guy, being a manager of personalities, and having the inability to coach properly. Three things. Them on the defensive end, but that still goes back to Ty Lue, and being able to game plan properly. And then I think the other piece for me is LeBron dribbling the ball into the end of the shot clock and then throwing it to you and being like, do something with 3 seconds
and that's
left.
always been my issue with LeBron.
And then getting mad at you when you can't create your own shot late in the shot clock, but I only got 3-and-D guys on the court. Like, so when were they going to create their shot? So I think that there's a big issue when your leader, and when I say leader, I mean LeBron, has a issue with accountability. I think that leads to a lot of problems. So if you're not holding yourself accountable as the leader, and when I really see that is, especially defensively, like a lot of the holes in the defense, LeBron is roaming all night, but he's not ever fully helping on help side. So yes, he's standing, playing midfield, but he's just looking for steals. And chase down blocks. He's not truly rotating at the points in time that he's supposed to and beating the man to the rim or cutting off the ball and allowing the rest of the team to get where they need to be. I would say every point guard they have is a defensive liability. Calderon, Rose, they're all defensive liabilities. So when you have LeBron won't guard his man and won't rotate, and then you have your point guard as defensive liability at all times. K Love, his lateral quickness is trash. and he really doesn't contest well. You rely on like Tristan Thompson, Jeff Green, or whoever the other two cats on the court, just to try to make it happen. And Crowder refuses to play D.
So I think
this year for some reason.
Yeah. And so what I think is, I don't think it's that LeBron James can't play help side defense. And it's not that he can't man up. I think he has a lack of trust in those other defenders. So he likes to play a zone. But so he can stay in between 2 or 3 guys defensively and try to cheat that.
But they're not playing boxing one or anything like that, like to allow him that opportunity.
He's not getting back to his man.
And then he never gets back to his man. And then the other thing is, his man will have the ball, be dribbling, in one spot, and will beat him off the dribble with ease, and he will never attempt to cut him off or anything like that. Or it'll be his rotation in the help side, and he'll let him go to the rack and turn and look at everybody else like, what y'all doing?
His defense is that guy that's about to take the jumper, and you do that flyby. Mm-hmm. That's his defense. Yeah. Even when the guy's dribbling. Yeah.
He's playing that Olay D. And I think, like...
that tap him on the leg, run by.
So how do you... And I think, like, when he turns it... Because there's many a time I see his man go to the rack, or other people, he's supposed to help. He's the rotation man. He doesn't rotate, and then he turns and looks at everybody else. Like, one time I think he turned and looked at Tristan, who was at the top of the key, like, where you at? But you're under the basket. You're the last line of defense on that play, not him. He was out there in the pick and roll, so you should be there. So I think, like, when I look at that, it's really hard for Ty Lue or anyone to hold everybody else accountable when the best player on the team won't play D. But on the flip side, we look at let's look at the Warriors, or let's look at San Antonio, right? The best player on those teams always must play D. Like, it's known.
That's true.
And so everyone buys in defensively because the best player has to play D.
But they also have more or less defensive holes as a team. Both of those.
I think that the Warriors actually, talent-wise, should be a lot lower defensively than Cleveland. If we just look at
what
on Cleveland's paper. 9, 28, somewhere around there. They're like last.
They have
but
the abundance of much better.
But they just have. Defenders. I'm just saying they have Draymond. Draymond cleans up a lot, but they play great team defense.
Yeah, the team defense is on point.
Like, cause you can't tell me Omar Caspi, Swaggy P, all that whole everybody. So if we think about it, the only people that have been considered truly elite defenders to me, Clay, Draymond.
Yeah, like, but we're still talking. To me, Cleveland has one. I still think he's an elite defender. I think LeBron James is an elite defender.
He's a good defender. So good. Okay, we'll just say good defender. Good
and
to
that's
elite.
It. That's
no,
it. No,
so
nobody.
Okay, so you didn't feel like Crowder, Shumpert, JR.
None of them guys is elite.
They weren't elite up until this season.
No, even years prior,
his defense is what kept Shumpert in the game.
All of them.
No. Okay, so they are solid. Shumpert is a solid defender.
Okay.
I think Jay Crowder is a good defender. This year he's definitely taken a step back. Tristan Thompson is a good defender.
A good defender will make you a great help defender.
I think
so. Tristan Thompson plays pretty solid help defense.
He's been lazy. He's been real lazy.
Kardashian.
Warriors.
That curse.
The Warriors have much better defense.
But what I was gonna say is that's effort. Effort. Defense is all effort, especially help side defense. I think that's all effort. I think if we talk about talent-wise defensively, I think Cleveland has better players that are naturally better defenders. But I think the Warriors have more effort defensively. So it looks as if, okay, they have a whole team full of elite defenders. No, they just know that they have play hard on defense. They just play hard on defense.
And I think the Cavs have an identity. We're going to outscore you, and that's how we're going to win. When you build that roster's not built for defense. They
don't move the ball well enough to.
And now we're starting to see that it didn't work.
So who? Well, I guess that goes back to whoever is.
Now it's reports that Gilbert's trying to get out.
Meaning
sell the team.
Oh.
I think he was being trying.
He ran it into the ground anyway. No more jersey changes. That's not gonna save the franchise.
No, that's not gonna save the franchise.
One title didn't save the franchise.
But I think they need to stop pointing the finger. That's what they're doing. That's hurting their cohesion when they try to have it. their cohesion. I'm sorry, when they try to play the game. Love is busting 25 and 9 or 8. And he's the least of your worries.
And I think the other thing that always concerns me is that LeBron always makes the third person in the big three the scapegoat for all of his shortcomings. No matter
Boozer.
where he's at. Yeah.
Jameson.
Yeah.
I can't speak on nothing that I'm not there for. I don't know what Kevin Love is or isn't doing in that locker room.
But what I'm saying is just like there's always a consistent issue with it being known, not that he comes out in the media on his own, but it being known by other players and also being shared by various sources that LeBron is always into it or dissatisfied with the third option on every big three, when they're limited by their touches and all of that stuff by him, and when they finally do touch the ball, then he's upset with them for shooting or not making the last second shot and things like that. And then when they play the way that they're supposed to, then he wants the ball, So looking at Bosh, like Bosh really struggled in that transition, right? And then when Bosh found his groove, then he would want the ball and not want to play through Bosh.
Yep, he figured it out.
Kevin Love is kind of in the same place. I think in his third year, I think really as we got into the finals like last year, he started to find, I know how to get my shot off, even if it's not ideal for me the way I want to play. I can still help this team. And then like I see him this year really thriving, but still being the scapegoat because he got sick. Like my man's came out with the flu. Like, have you ever had the flu?
And tried to play.
Right. Like everybody ain't Mike when they got the flu, man. Right. So like my man's was sick, and then for the newest cat to the squad to come and feel like he needs to address, or he's comfortable addressing you and bringing Jeff Green with him is another thing that's concerning.
The fact that LeBron, I don't want to say let that happen, but let that happen or spilled over to the way that it happened. Yeah, that you can't have that.
Yeah.
Because stats are stats. It's no matter what you think I'm playing like. Buckets is buckets in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he's getting them.
Because you got sick the other night doesn't
That's
mean
true, but I mean...
and you played 4 games this year and you going checking him.
You good.
And he hold himself to a higher esteem than I don't want to say he's not a good... He's a good player. IT is a good player. But he has so many deficiencies in his game that he wants to be the man, and I don't think he can.
Defensively?
Yeah.
Okay. You said so many deficiencies.
Defensively. What else can he... Well, we see what he's been doing on offense. It looked like he can't read a playbook right now.
My man, I mean, so I will say
what
up until the last game.
Well, we don't...
Ty Lue.
Yeah.
Ty Lue. So if you give Brad Stevens the same group, do you think... I keep saying Brad. Let me say Pop first, because I know y'all believe Pop is the GOAT. If you gave Pop this squad, could he make it work?
No.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Why or why not?
There's nothing that I've ever seen from Pop that lets me feel like he can't manage anybody's ego. So, I mean, because you got to think, when he got Ginobili knew he was the man. He tapered
and
him.
Ginobili and Parker couldn't play defense to save their life.
And look what he turned him into. So there's nothing that makes, until you show me that you can't get it done, I have to always believe that you can. So Greg Popovich, I think, is a great manager of ego. He's a great manager of talent, and he gets the best out of his players. So I don't think there's any collection of teams that he can't manage.
So on the flip side, why do you feel like
Pop
he can?
normally gets players that's looking to win that championship. So that ego and everything that they have is subsided by now. You have, if you put him on to coach a team with IT as he stands right now, I don't think he'll be able to control IT.
I think he can.
I don't think so.
So I will say I'm in a space where I think I'll give 3 names that I think could control this team. Pop, Brad Stevens, Mark Jackson.
Mark Jackson, no doubt.
Those are 3 dudes I think could control this team. Now I would say Mark Jackson isn't going to put up with LeBron. And that's probably the only reason they probably haven't been able to make that move. Like, he's not going to put up with that ego and a lot of those issues that he has with them. But I think that dudes that are better as far as X and O's wise that he would respect, he wouldn't be trying to walk all over. and wouldn't be, he wouldn't be throwing hissy fits and temper tantrums all the time and things like that.
That's another big part about it. It's not just about what the coaches are capable of doing. It's about what the players are more willing to accept, what they're more willing to try to do, because they know who this coach is. They're going to play for him.
They're buying into
they're going to definitely buy into what the coach is offering up.
An alpha's always an alpha. An alpha's always an alpha.
I understand, but here's the thing: alphas also understand that if I can learn something from you, if I can take something from you, I'm more willing to listen rather than somebody who just bumping his guns, running his mouth, and you're not showing me anything.
Yeah, I think a alpha has no problem yielding if he's getting something from it, or if there's there's an even trade off.
Exactly, and with those elite coaches who we named, I think you get something like that, as opposed to Tyronn Lue, who is. I think he was presented as a manager of egos, but where I've never heard prior to this or any time in between, his assistant coaching tenure that Tyronn Lue has a great basketball mind.
He does.
Even when he was a player, it wasn't like, oh man, his IQ is off the charts. And I can see that translated into coaching.
Well, we don't really know.
We saw with Jason Kidd.
We don't really know if he's a good coach because he got a LeBron, and LeBron is calling the shots. So
he had stopped him from calling the shots. Remember, a lot of them play calls in the finals and things like that.
Yeah,
it was horrible.
I just think with LeBron in his current state, wanting to have his hands over everything, he's always going to be in this predicament.
And I think one thing I was going to say, you said alpha's always going to be an alpha. I don't think LeBron's truly an alpha.
No, he's not an alpha. He's very passive.
Yeah, he's
very passive. He's not. I was referring to IT.
Okay.
As an alpha.
Okay. Yeah, but I would say that's and he has a team full of alphas, but I think they're all people that you can work with.
Yeah.
Outside of LeBron, who is the passive or passive aggressive one.
I think he's a whisperer. Meaning he whispers the stuff
Chatty
about
Patty,
about Pharrell, real talk. He whispers the stuff, and then IT, not knowing his identity, want to still be in that Boston mentality when it isn't he's going to bring that. That's not your job. That's not what you're here for at this particular time to do.
Yeah. So
how many years IT got on this contract?
This is the last.
This last year. Yeah.
You think he gone?
Yeah, he gone. He's not staying there.
He's a Clipper.
Hell no. If I'm him, I'm not going to the Clippers.
He's going to Utah. Where's he going?
He's going to have to go somewhere where he's
the man. He could go to the Spurs.
I think he can go to the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs look for him. I think I think they comfortable with letting Murray take the reins. I think
New York, maybe.
I think he takes
Knicks.
the keys. I can see him going to New York.
Milwaukee.
Not Milwaukee.
See him going to Milwaukee. I don't want to see him in Milwaukee, but I can see him going to Milwaukee.
Nah, Detroit.
Indiana might be a good look too. I think Indiana. I think Detroit.
I think he resigns in Cleveland. I think that.
Oh goodness.
I think he feels like that's the closest he can get to a title. So I think.
Not if LeBron ain't there. LeBron, this is his last year too, right?
I think even if LeBron ain't there, they're gonna.
I think he got the 1-1, the 1 year in the option.
Because he's gonna have Love. Love won't leave if
that's I want Love to go, and I want them to see how sweet it is when he's gone.
Well, we got 6 to 8 weeks without Love.
Yep, well, we surely do.
So we'll see how they function. Because they seem not to function well when Love doesn't play in spurts.
And I saw something. The defense with LeBron and IT on the court together. With one of them on the court, it's a -15. Both on the court together is a -32. That's ridiculous.
Well, you're always going to be a poor defensive team with Isaiah Thomas on the floor.
But I think they both are doing the same thing. They both out there looking for steals. Like they're looking to play passing lanes and cheat all the time.
Yeah, I mean Isaiah Thomas is just, and he's not a good defender at all.
But Derek wasn't a good defender, and he became a pretty decent. Just stay in front of my man and hope help.
Yeah, because you had somebody who was preaching and teaching that. Like he didn't have another choice.
Who are the assistants in Cleveland?
Trash. Nah.
Because every team has a defensive guru. I think Drew is the defensive cat.
He's more of an offensive coach.
So it ain't Drew then.
I forgot who it is.
Well, it don't matter. Will they win the championship this year?
No.
Who do they lose to in the finals? Conference finals. Or do you think they coming out the East?
They come out the East.
I don't even know if they come out the East.
Boston's too young. Toronto's too inconsistent because Lowry doesn't seem to play in the Eastern Conference Finals. Wall also goes ghost in the Eastern like when he plays LeBron and them. So I think they still come out the East at this point because Boston's too young and they don't have enough offense.
I think we even still up to this point, even with the early run that they had in the beginning of the season, I don't think we've seen the best of Boston.
I don't either.
This year.
I think
I think Boston could still come out of the East.
And then we know LeBron teams, like, this is what happens. You start off rough. You go through a patch where you win 9 or 10 games in a row. Then you go through another rough patch right around.
But you never had a team like Boston in the East waiting.
Yes, you have. You've always had a team waiting that they're going to take them 6 or 7 this go round, and then they get beaten 5 every go round.
I think
Boston
this year,
them, man.
I think this year the identity crisis is deeper. I think the dysfunction is deeper. They made so many moves trying to get better that they just tossed a bunch of BS together. Yeah. In all honesty, because you have so many people so many different players who just really don't know how to fit in.
Yeah.
Jeff Green is the only one who really made it work. D Wade isn't bad just because D Wade knows how to get his. D Wade is.
He's actually been a bright spot to me.
No, he is. He's such a great professional that he doesn't. He can't let this affect his game.
Corver even looks out of place on the team, and you know what he's there for.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he only got one job and he look out of place.
Yeah,
Rose is out of place. Crowder is out of place. Tristan Thompson is out of place. J.R. Smith is out of place. They don't know how to. They're not managing the minutes well. I think this identity crisis is way worse than.
So does LeBron?
I don't think so. But I think the big problem or the big move that I think was a major impact that people didn't see it as a major impact was getting rid of Richard Jefferson.
Speak on it.
Richard Jefferson was the just go in the game and defend. And clean up all the messes and cut and do all the things that a great
Iggy
like slasher does.
So he was
like
Iggy. He was Iggy.
He just slashed to the basket. He got offensive rebounds. He defended the best player on the other team. He did all of the intangible things, right? But that's what they're really missing. Shump wants to shoot threes and do all types of stuff now that he wasn't doing. JR can't hit a shot, and so now he's not playing defense. So everybody else is kind of like they're getting off their game. If Richard Jefferson wasn't scoring the ball, he was impacting the game in so many different ways. And I felt like when him and Tristan were on the court together, they were a lot better team, although it didn't look like it on paper. But you knew that you had two people that were gonna help, that were gonna rotate, and that were going to do all the scrappy things that were needed. And I feel like Tristan is kind of left on his own island to try to do everything scrappy by himself. The same problem that they have with DJ and with the Clippers. You can't do everything scrappy by yourself. You get beat up. You get tired.
So do they make a move or they stand pat?
And I think that they're gonna make a move. I think they're gonna try to move Tristan, which is gonna be one of the dumbest things they ever did. Because
to do what?
I think that they think that they're gonna get somebody big.
What about a Favors type?
Favors isn't gonna fit well with that group because
I don't see anybody fitting. Truthfully,
I don't. Yeah, I think that this is one of those LeBron like Franken teams that just never.
I think you got to move a bunch of pieces, not a bunch, but I think you have to move multiple pieces, and I don't think they do anything.
No,
I think they stay pat, and they're still going to have the same dysfunction.
I agree.
Yeah. I think they stay pat, or they make one huge move, and then just Kevin Love.
If they did that, it's over.
I think it's over regardless. I don't think they make it out of the East, and I think they fall really really flat in the playoffs.
But watch what happens. They're gonna at the end of the year, after All-Star break, after they've been losing and stuff, they're gonna find a little rhythm about the last 4 games of the year. They're gonna go play these cupcake teams in the East. Yeah, and they're gonna bond together. You're gonna see all these Snapchat joints and stuff, and then all of a sudden they're gonna get out the East, and then they're gonna get beat up on.
For them to get out, it's gonna have to be what year was that? 04 LeBron when he went crazy in the playoffs. It's gonna have to be that LeBron, Mr. I'ma do everything.
That's not even 04 LeBron. That's last year and the year before that LeBron.
True.
He averaged a triple double.
He didn't have the consistency of he had the consistency of the Kyrie and Dwayne Wade. Those other ones though. Like the first finals back to Cleveland, I agree he did it all on his own. But the last two, Kyrie held him down, especially when
all day
he disappears.
His individual numbers have been phenomenal. For
I'm not
the
talking
last
numbers.
Playoffs.
I'm not talking numbers. I'm talking about feel for the game, especially in the fourth, especially the last 6 minutes of the game. That's what I'm really talking about. And then when I
disagree.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't have anybody to rely on. He can rely on Kyrie.
But
Kyrie's not there.
But watch these end of game situations. Like, why are we down 1 to Detroit? You know, at this point in time, and we lose by 9, 11 points because there's no Kyrie and Dwayne Wade. In some points, isn't playing to put up those buckets that he's used to somebody else putting up when he wants to hide in the corner, or when he hides from the ball in the fourth when they're down. Like, so those are those situations. Like, you can't make him be an alpha in those moments. He doesn't want to be. He's scared of that moment. But Kyrie's not. Wade wasn't. And whenever he has somebody around like that, it makes him look a lot better in the fourth quarter of games, especially the second half of fourth quarters.
That's why you go hard in the third.
Yep. Because he's got to act like he's exhausted.
Yep.
And hide from the ball. Anytime you see a man dribble the ball and not look at the rim, you know he has no intent on closing. He's not a closer. Maybe he needs a Lou Will or somebody, man, since they trying to blow it up over there. Trade IT for Lou Will.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll work. Well, I guess we'll just kind of watch and see, man. This is one of them.
It's the time where it gets good. So.
Yeah, this is one of them stories. I don't know the diehard LeBron fans how you continue to hold him on this pedestal when we consistently see him underachieve in the big moments, like the regular season stuff and first through third quarters. Yeah, I got you. But this, last 5-6 minutes of games consistently, like, how do you hold him on this pedestal better than Mike and Kobe? Like, let's just go watch the last 6 minutes of games.
I'm way beyond even listening to those arguments. I don't think he can hold a candle to either one of them two moves.
Yeah.
Just because you can't get to the dance that many times and not get the girl.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, and it's like, yeah, you done got a few, but I mean, at this point in time, you should have a few more.
Yeah.
If you that killer like you say you is, if you that Mount Rushmore like you think you are, then I mean, so at this point, it's I have long stopped the comparisons just because I'm just tired of it. It gets really redundant and it doesn't make any sense to me.
Listeners, give us your top 5 in the comments.
My top. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, yeah.
I'm just thinking, but keep going. Keep going. I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
put y'all's top 5 right now. Right now, I'm talking about current players of the league. Keep going though.
Yeah, but I'm not even looking for him to try to live up to comparisons. At this point, I just want to see what can he give this team any different than what he gave the last two. The team that you have right now, even though it might have a better collection of talent individually, is worse off than you were last year. And you got smacked.
Yeah.
That was not a close finals.
Yeah.
This year is going to be worse. I don't think they're even better than Boston.
Yeah.
Even with Boston being as young as they are, even with Boston having their second best player on the sidelines for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
I still think they could beat them.
I hope Boston.
With their level of dysfunction.
I hope
think
Cleveland
Boston
doesn't get out the East. I just don't. I don't
think
know.
It could happen.
I'm not that
Got a
optimistic
feeling.
about it.
Yeah.
If they don't, I'll probably cry. I'll probably be so excited I'll cry.
You know what? The only thing that makes me want to see them make it out is just because I'm rooting for Rose. I want to see Rose make it.
What if Rose doesn't play?
Oh, then I hope they lose in the first round.
Well, you gonna hope they lose in the first round because he ain't playing.
If
Did y'all see that joint the other day?
The one you said
talking about
using
the bathroom?
Yeah,
man. That man looked like he was spaced.
He just heard them talking about people on the team, and then he just had
He was zooted.
Idiot savant, man. I'm telling you, man.
Another thing is that he works best when you have a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
Calipari in Memphis, the early days in Chicago with Thibodeau. If you have a good system, a good structure, Derrick Rose is a great point guard. Not saying that he can't be without that, but he needs that structure. He can't have a lot of dysfunction.
He can't.
Yeah, he seems like, I was going to say he doesn't have the tolerance, but that was too big of a compiling on him. He just seems like when it's dysfunction and disarray. Okay, I'm about to just go take a break. I don't feel like it. I don't want to do this.
He questions if he should even be playing anymore and stuff like that. Interesting. Very good point. But we'll watch it play out.
That happened in New York with Phil and everybody.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is when the dysfunction is there, Derrick Rose.
I think
Garpax.
Yeah.
He said how to.
So I think it's something different. I think when he's allowed to be free is when he plays best.
But why wouldn't you want D Rose to be free?
That too.
You would want him to be free.
With LeBron.
That's I don't know why he signed there.
Yeah, he wanted a title that bad. He should have just went to the Spurs, man. They would have let him be free. They'd have took the shackles off him. They took the shackles off him.
That's right. Mr. Shuttlesworth said it best.
He out here getting Earl to Pearl, man. Yeah. Put the shackles on. But all right, that's pretty much it, and we'll I'm sure that we'll get into more of this later. Just wanted to say prayers up for Boogie and Roberson, man.
Yeah,
that was two horrific injuries, man. And to have an Achilles at such a young age is horrible, man.
And he's a big dude, so you don't even know how you're gonna come back.
The great thing is that go ahead.
I really felt bad about that because we saw him playing his absolute best basketball. Not saying that I don't feel bad for Roberson. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't care if it's somebody I didn't like. If Jared Dudley had an ACL injury, and I hate Jared Dudley, by the way. He's wasted talent or a lack of talent.
I was about to say.
Right,
and he's still playing.
Right.
Still playing.
That man out there on the court looking like a granddad. But my thing is, I never want to see anybody get hurt. But to see the way Boogie was playing, it was so many people saying, "Oh, you can't play alongside AD. It's not gonna work over there."
They made it work.
They out there hooping, dog, and to see him go down like that really hurt. I think they had playoffs written all over him.
I think the one thing with Boogie though is Boogie doesn't really have athleticism to begin with. Like a lot of his game is predicated on his ability to just have high basketball IQ and be more skilled than every other big man in the game.
Yeah.
And so he's not gonna lose that by sitting down. Like we were just talking about Zach Randolph.
A better Randolph.
Boogie's gonna at 40 gonna be Zach Randolph, if he wants to be.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough credit for how well he positions himself prior to any rebounding. His footwork is great on both ends of the ball.
Yeah.
When Cousins is locked in, dog, because he has so many moments where he was just spaced out in the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
When he is locked in, when he is motivated, he is easily one of the best big men.
Cousins has a Rasheed Wallace syndrome as well, man. Like
I can see that.
Extremely talented, but they just let so many little minute things distract them.
And he's gotten away from that to an extent. He still got his moments, but when that man is locked in, he is the best big man in the league. He's arguably the best big man in the league when he is fully committed and locked in.
Yeah. And just his ability to play. Those two cats playing together, man, has been so dope that they can both play outside.
They can both
I think
pass.
The other thing is that Boogie every year adds something to his game.
Yeah.
That's old school to me. Like every year you come back after the summer with something new.
And that's exactly why Blake Griffin is who he is.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into all of that later, man. I think we just go ahead and wrap this one up, man. We could talk basketball forever. So,
of course.
Yeah. But all right, y'all. We will see y'all next week. We will have more content for you coming early next week. So
no doubt.
All right, it's a wrap.
Peace.
All right.